Welcome or welcome back. This is part 2 of the making of the magical whimsical fairy tree for the bookshelf. Here I'm starting on the top of the tree and just kind of constructing some branches out of, this is a paper towel roll, and then rolling that with tin foil, and I just taped it up as I went and just put the branches on with some hot glue. And as you can see in the background, I did add some branches to the base of the tree as well, which I'm very happy that I did, because I think that it needed some more kind of meatiness, some heftiness, some oomph to it. And I'm just adding branches as I go. And as you can see here, I'm just going back through just like I did on the bottom with the hot glue and making the bark of the tree, just going and building as I go until all of the foil is covered. And let me tell you, you do need a lot of hot glue for this kind of project. I couldn't even tell you how many sticks of hot glue I went through, but it was a lot. Oh, as you have seen in the footage, I did add some branches. I probably should have waited to paint this base black until I had everything done, but this has kind of been a progression of the tree. I've got the top done. I did add a branch on the back so that it would be balanced as far as the weight, so that it would stand up by itself. So I need to paint both of those pieces. I am back with the fairy tree for the bookshelf. We're going to build up the color. I have a bunch of different colors here to mix together. I have my little trusty egg crates that I save for painting. I am just going to mix a bunch of things together. Definitely some white. Maybe I'll do like some gray, some yellow bits, green. Now this is a tip for you. I buy just little random things like this that look pretty and have a use. I got this from At Home and it was in the clearance section. I think I paid $2 for it, and this is what I fill up with water to clean my brushes. So you can find like things that are not meant to be used for the thing that you're using it for and have it be really cute. Got my water here. And I'm going to start with the easiest one first, which is going to be this one. I am going to put my apron on because I am notorious for accidents. So I'm going to start with some gray here. Wipe off the excess. One other thing with how I did these trees is with the hot glue, it creates so many bumps and ridges that you really can see the texture once you start building the color up. That's going to be fun to see all of the texture that is going to be created. All right, I've got some gray dry brushed on there, and I'm going to start building up some color. Now you will see later in the video, but I wish I would have waited for this step, but it still turned out to be very magical in the end. But I mean, I'm working really fast here. I've never worked so fast in my whole life. All right, I have got both the parts of the tree painted, the trunk part of the tree and the branch part of the tree. Now remember, these are going to kind of be on top of each other with a shelf separating them inside of that bookshelf, but I'm happy with the color. The next step is going to be adding some of the moss on the tree, and I'm thinking of adding some other fairy type essence kind of stuff. I don't know exactly what I'm gonna do yet, but I had an idea. I don't know if it's gonna work or not, but we're gonna try it. Why not? I'm gonna take some fishing line, and I have the thought to maybe put some hot glue on this to kind of make it look like there's little dewdrops sticking down. Now this might be kind of like a little trial and error, but I do kind of want it to look like dewdrops. And I thought about just kind of gluing them hanging from some of the branches. Okay, so this is how this turned out. So that is kind of pretty cool. We've got some dewdrops. Now what I can do is I can kind of cut little links off. I mean, I think that looks kind of magical and mystical. Okay, I have hit another dilemma in the think thought process, whatever you want to call it. I have hit another dilemma. So I wanted to make some mushrooms out of this, kind of like I did with the book case. Since there is a shelf that's going to be separating these two, I don't know how to kind of wrap this around this tree and then wrap the lights around this tree without, because you know I'm having to kind of decorate them separately. So how do you, unless I have two separate lights for each tree, which I could do, but the problem with that is I only have this one strand. I don't have another strand. I could always order another. Let me see how fast I could get one here. The problem is you usually can't order just one strand. You have to order a set. So let me figure that out. All right, it is the next day, and I did not show you any of this yesterday. I just kind of worked my little heart away and did add a lot of the lights. Similar to what I did with the book, for the bookcase, I am going to make mushrooms out of these. And I'm debating, because I'm not going to have enough moss to cover all of these wires. So what I'm debating doing instead is just taking my glue gun, because I mean, as you know, this whole tree is just covered with glue. So I'm debating kind of covering the wires with my glue and then painting them to match the tree. That way it covers them, because there's no way on the earth that I'm going to be able to have moss covering all of these wires. It just wouldn't look right. Okay, peeps, I have finished all the lights. I've started gluing down all of the wires, and I'm going to do that. Like I said earlier, it's just going to be kind of impossible to hide all these wires like these with moss, like those with moss. So I'm going to go ahead and cover them with glue. Now, hindsight, I probably should have done this before I painted the whole thing, because now I might have to repaint the whole thing again to kind of have it all match. But it's all a learning process. Anytime you do any type of craft, just off the top of your head, where you're just kind of dreaming it up as you go, you're gonna have that. So I'm gonna go around and just start gluing. So I realized that I had not even cut the camera on to film, and I'm getting way ahead of myself here, so I want to kind of give you an update of where I'm at. I covered all of the wires with the glue. And then now what I'm doing is just kind of going in and painting. Trying to match kind of what I already have, but it's proving pretty difficult. So I'm just kind of splotching it. Guys, I'm just kind of splotching anywhere and everywhere just to kind of try to make everything match. The lights are going to flicker because of the camera timing, but this is what we've got. I am satisfied with the paint. It does look splotchy in some areas, but remember, we are still going to be putting embellishments and moss on here, so I'm not that worried about having the paint flow perfectly. I have painted the stems of all of my mushrooms, and now I'm getting ready to put tops on the mushrooms. I have to make them first out of hot glue, but that is what I'm doing now. Okay, I'm doing that thing again where I'm just like zoning out and not updating you. So we've got mushroom caps. I'm doing these a little bit different from the ones that I did for the book, for the bookshelf. I'm using the hot glue, but I'm taking this Pearl X pigments, and when the glue dot is almost dry, not quite dry, but almost dry, I'm brushing, you can kind of see them here, the glitter on there, so that when you pull them up, they're very iridescent, and it looks really, really good on these mushrooms. So that is what I'm doing, and then I'm just sticking them on there. I cannot even begin to tell you guys how excited about this project that I am. I mean, look at all of those teeny tiny little mushrooms. And I love that I thought of the iridescent because I think that it looks so cool. Now these are on battery. They're battery operated. It's going to be, you know, stuff back behind the tree. There are 8 different combinations that you can do. And I know in camera it looks like they're flickering, but these are actually just, what is it called? It is called steady on, but in the camera it looks like they're flickering, but I think it looks phenomenal. And now it's time for the moss. I was so excited by this step because I knew it was going to bring everything together that I just opened up the camera and filmed and really didn't even talk to the camera very much. I was just zoned out in my own little world. Now, as for the moss, anytime you see it on sale, I would pick it up, especially for crafts like this where you're trying to make something look fairy-like, whimsical, magical. Moss really brings it all together, and you can get all different colors of moss. You can get all different types of textures. I get them whenever I see them, especially if it's on sale. Places like Amazon are a really good place. Michael's, Hobby Lobby, Joann Fabrics, any craft store is going to have moss, and it's usually in the section where you find the wreath making supplies, the artificial flowers, things like that. But I cannot wait for you to see this when I am done because it is fabulous. I'm also using some needle nose pliers to kind of help me with the application because I did want moss, although throughout the tree, also around every single mushroom, and the pliers just made it a little bit more easier to kind of form it around the little mushroom stems. Good morning. It is officially the next day. Today is Wednesday. What's the date? The date is the 23rd of October. Oh, my phone was right here. I could have looked at that on my phone. Oh, well. So I am continuing work on my little tree here. All right, so this is where I got yesterday. I've got these left to do here, some in the back. So I'm going to continue working on the moss till probably about 12 o'clock. It's 10:13 now. Then I'm going to take a break for lunch, have me something to eat, and then I'm going to clear all this off and work on some of my Halloween crafts because I still have a lot of Halloween crafts to do. So I'm going to work on those, film those. The lights for my other part of this tree is supposed to be delivered sometime today. So we're just going to keep going. It's like a craft marathon over here in this house. So yeah. Let's get to mossing. Mossy, mossy, mossy. I just have to show you guys the texture of this tree. I mean, it is, oh my gosh, so phenomenal. And the lighting. I mean, I am just so happy with how this turned out. I have finished the base of the tree, and it has exceeded my expectations. Again, this is another creation that I cannot believe that I dreamed up off the top of my head. I set out to make a fairy tree, a magical witchy fairy tree for the bookshelf. I wanted it to live in the corner and have some lights on it and be sparkly and magical. And I can't believe I created this. Now I do still have to do the top of it, but I want to show you the base. The top's going to look pretty much the same, and then we'll put it in the bookshelf together. You guys all saw where this started. It started with the base of just some toilet paper rolls and some paper towel rolls, and kind of grew from there. Now these mushrooms are made out of hot glue and just fairy lights. And I hid all of the wires of the fairy lights with more hot glue and just painted over that. This is just fishing line with some hot glue dots glued onto it. I thought it would be kind of cool to have some, they look almost like dewdrops to me, and that's kind of the look that I was going for. I was gonna put these diamondy looking things in here, but I don't know. I think that that would almost be too much. I was gonna paint some dots on the mushrooms, but I don't think I'm going to. I think that that would just be too much. I think it looks so mystical and magical like it is. And I did take some Mod Podge and took some of my diamond luster powder, this, and kind of painted the tree a little bit just so it does have a little bit of luster. And I am almost done with this fairy tree. Okay, so the base is done. Now we're working on the top. I didn't want to film the whole top because you basically get the idea. It's the same as the base, it's just shaped a little bit different. But I did want to show you how I create the stems for the mushrooms. Basically, I just take my glue gun and go down the length of the wire of the lights. And then once that one side dries, I go in on the other side so that when the glue dries, it totally encompasses the wire. You can kind of see that effect on the mushrooms on the bottom of the tree here, and it creates your little mushroom stem. Now I'm gonna finish the top of this tree and we're gonna put this in the bookshelf together. I can't wait for you to see the completed project. It is so magical. I have finally finished the top, and we're gonna go put it in the bookshelf. Let's cut on the lights and admire all of our hard work. And since the tree is finally done, I immediately started putting all of the books in the bookshelf. And adding a few embellishments here and there because I am who I am. I had a little fairy charm hanging from a moon and I wanted to hang it near the fairy tree. At very long last, I am finally finished with the bookshelf. Now, It is going to evolve over time. I'm sure I'll add more books. I'll add more whimsy, magical things. But let me turn on all the lights so that you can see it in its full glory, and I'll give you a tour. I have the doors closed so that you can get the full effect. So let's open these doors and I'll give you a tour. Now I don't have anything on the top shelf yet. That's, an open space where I can add things. This is the second shelf, and I'll explain a few of these things as we go. I just want to give you a look at what it looks like. So these are just some books that are just old books that I have collected over time. Of course, the spooky book that I made, and just some witchy type books that I have ordered from Amazon that I'm going to be reading. This velvet box is what my necklace came in that has my son's fingerprint on it, and I put this in here as a keepsake. This mug, Nick actually gave that to me. It's one of the only things he ever bought for me, so I put that in the bookshelf as well because it means a lot to me. This also means a lot to me. It's got some little things that Nick gave me over the years, so I have this on here. Moving down to the third shelf, as you can see, I designed the tree to go up 2 shelves. I think it turned out so good. I mean, I just can't believe that I actually dreamed this up in my head, and it has surpassed my expectations for sure. These are just books that I have collected over the years. Most of them I have not read. I will be reading those eventually. My Spooky Witch portrait that I showed you in many vlogs back. This is a music box. I'm not going to open it. It's not plugged in, but my dad gave me that for Christmas a very long time ago. And I put these little candles in here. These are, of course, not real candles. And they're on a timer, so they'll come on every night. The bottom shelf is just a collection of things, picture books, coloring books, and magazines. Most of these are travel brochures, basically, that I have picked up at the Florida rest stops in our travels. They are places that I would like to visit one day. And not to be too incredibly morbid, but that is my son's ashes. We do have ashes in a cylinder that we're going to be releasing the Saturday after Thanksgiving, and this is the ashes that were left. So I have him in here because a lot of these things are very important to me, so it will continue to evolve. But that is the bookshelf, my magical, whimsical, very cool bookshelf. And remember, I did put lights in the bookshelf, so that is the lights on. And of course, in the camera, it looks like the lights are flickering, but they are not flickering. I think it looks so good. I'm so very happy with it, and I hope you guys like it too. So that is it for the mystical magical bookshelf and everything that I have done to transform it up until now. Like I said, I'm sure it will continue to evolve, and anything that I add, I will just kind of update you in home vlogs along the way. But I hope you enjoyed coming along for the mystical magical tree that I made for the bookshelf. I enjoyed making it. I hope you enjoyed it too, and all those YouTubey things. Like, comment, subscribe, click that bell, and I will see you when I see you.